Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jordan and thank you so much for clicking on one of my bookish videos. Today I am so excited because I'm going to be filming what I read while I'm on vacation. I am going to the Jersey Shore this week and this is when I get some of my best reading and most reading done every year. So I figured what better way than to vlog, see how much I actually read and share my thoughts with you guys about some of these very special books I have saved for this week. So if you are interested in seeing what I read and how much I read during a week on vacation, then keep on watching. Okay, so before we leave, I just wanted to show some of the books that I have saved specifically for this week. I have way too many, but they're pulled from my July and August TBR, and I'm hoping to get through at least a few of them. First, I have my arc of Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. This was gifted to me by Tor, so thank you very much to them. I love Olivia and I've been dying to read this book and this arc since I got my hands on it, and I've been saving it for this week at the beach. Then we have One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, which I have been saving to reread while on vacation. I read it in the spring when it released and I just knew it would hit so different even though I loved it the first time if I read it while at the beach. Next, I have my arc of Coldwire by Chloe Gong. This literally just showed up, which is so perfect because I was hoping to read this while I was on vacation. This is her newest release coming out in November, and this book was gifted to me by Simon Teen, so thank you so much to them. I have another reread, and that is Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have reread this book most years while at the beach after reading it the first time at the shore. It's just my favorite book. I love rereading it. I always find something new and it just gives me so much happiness. Another romance I'm hoping to get to is Between Friends and Lovers. I have heard so many great things about this book and I believe it's a queer romance. I just really want to read it while I'm at the shore. Finally, I just read Spark of the Everflame and absolutely loved it, and I really want to go straight into the second book, which is Glow of the Everflame. This was gifted to me by Tor Books, so thank you very much to them. This is a romantasy series, and to say I'm obsessed after the first book is an understatement. This is a chunky one, so we'll see if I get to it, but I am hoping to finish it by the end of July. And that is a stack of books I'm bringing with me. I also do have quite a few arcs on my Kindle that I would really like to get to, including Soul Searching by Lila Sage, Good Spirits by BK Borison, and many others. So we'll see if I pick up any on here because I do love reading on my Kindle while I'm on the beach itself, so sand doesn't get in my books. All right, so that is my little TBR for the week. We will see what I pick up and I will see you at the beach. Hello, happy Sunday. It is July 20th and this is our first full day of vacation. So I wanted to start off this little reading vlog. I am super excited. I have such a good stack of books that I've been saving for vacation. A very ambitious stack. I, as always, bring like a million books down in hopes I'm somehow gonna read 10 books in like 6 days. I won't, but you never know how many books I'm gonna get through. So to start this video, I think I'm going to start my reread of One Golden Summer. I listened to this audiobook in May or the end of April, right when it came out, and absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite books of the year, and I've just been wanting to reread it while I'm on vacation at the beach so badly. This is literally the ultimate vibe. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna physically reread. I may like annotate a bit, nothing like too crazy. So this will be my first romance book, perfect for the beach. Then I never said that I read just romance books on vacation. I read the books that I'm looking the most forward to, and I have been saving my arc of Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake to read on vacation because I'm so excited and I just wanted to savor it and and read it during like one of my favorite times just to binge the books I'm most looking forward to. I was gifted a copy of this arc by Tor Books, so thank you very much to them. Olivia is one of my favorite authors of all time, and this is a very like new type of book for her. It's more of like a satirical, bit horror type, I believe. It is about cannibalism. I'm not entirely sure if there actually is cannibalism, but I know that is kind of her take on like sorority girls and like wealthy moms and a new wellness trend, which is like a play off of the concept of girl dinner, but it's eating people. I know it sounds crazy, but I have really, really high hopes. I'm excited to read this. I also just like love the cover. So this is going to be my like very different from a romance read that I start. So I'm going to start by reading both of these books and hopefully I can get through them in the next day or so. And then I have a whole pile to choose from. Huge pile. I have a few books on my Kindle that I also want to read. Again, I'm not going to make it through all these books. I know that for a fact, but I really hope that I can read a good amount. So I'm about to head to the beach and I'm going to read on the beach, and I'm so excited to bring you guys with me this week as I read all these books on vacation. Hello, happy Monday. It is towards the end of the day, but I wanted to give a quick check-in of what I read yesterday and what I read today at the beach. I, as I said, did start reading my reread of One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune and my arc of Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, and I honestly have gotten like a mixed amount of time reading. We've been doing a lot of different stuff in the morning and at night, so I've mainly been reading on the beach, but I did start reading One Golden Summer yesterday. I read 150 pages and that was it for reading for the day. Today I read about 220 pages of One Golden Summer and I just finished this. I love this book so much. I already read this book when it came out in another reading vlog, so I will insert that vlog here so you can see all of my thoughts, but just know I loved it even more on a reread. Like, I was grinning like a baby. Charlie Florrick, I'm obsessed with him. He is like my ultimate book boyfriend, and I just love the friendship between Charlie and Alice. They are just such best friends. I love that you can tell that they are falling for each other the entire summer, but at the same time, it's just like they love hanging out and being with each other and doing all these things together. The writing in this, I think, is absolutely beautiful. I definitely think it's Carly Fortune's best writing and work, and I can just see myself coming back to reading this again and again, especially on vacation. Like, this is going to be a reread staple. So I very much loved rereading this, and it was a good start to the vacation. Okay, and then today I just started reading Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake, and I am about 55 pages in, so not that far. I am hoping to have a chance to read like a little bit more tonight to hopefully get to like 100 pages, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I literally have loved every single book Olivia has ever put out, and something about this book and just like the satire element of it and the setup so far is so intriguing to me. I have a feeling that I'm really gonna love this, but I am very interested to see the delivery based on what I know about the book. So far, like I said before, this is like a satire type, like horror-ish book. That is at least my understanding. And basically so far, we are with Sloane, who is a like new mother who is going back to her job as a adjunct professor at this university. And then we're also following Nina, who is a sophomore at the university, who is rushing the sorority. And she's trying to get into this super popular sorority who's like super secretive and like very cliquey. I just got to the part where Sloane is asked to be the advisor for the sorority. I am very interested. I think both of their characters are super just Olivia Blake complex. They both really represent like different stages of womanhood, and I'm interested to see how like the mom part interacts with the sorority girl part. So I'm very excited. I will check back in tomorrow. Hopefully I have some more reading time to keep reading this and then probably pick up my next book. Hello. I am coming to you from the future because I went to edit this video and I realized that the footage I recorded on Wednesday had no sound. Very quickly, I just wanted to give you the updates for what I had read on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then quickly give you my thoughts and review for Girl Dinner, which I finished on Wednesday. On Tuesday, I read 50% of Girl Dinner, and then I ended up reading about 61% of Soul Searching. I literally binged through it. And then on Wednesday, I read the last 25% of Girl Dinner and finished it. And then I read the last 40% of Soul Searching and finished that as well. I just love this book so much. So this book is definitely not going to be for everyone. Like I said, definitely check the trigger warnings on this. It does include cannibalism, which is crazy for me to be like, yes, this is such an amazing book, and one of the main topics and points behind the book is the use of cannibalism in satire. But honestly, the way that Olivia wrote this book was so well done. It is really a book and dialogue about white, able-bodied, cisgender, educated, wealthy woman and the type of feminism that comes from those type of women, and is portrayed through this sorority house and then also this mom who is just going back to her job as a professor at the university and is the sorority's advisor. And there are just so many layers to this book and so many nuances, and I think that Olivia really tackled very timely topics such as white feminism and the type of feminism that leaves out a lot of different groups, as well as just new trends and groups like mom talk and traditional wives, and how that overlaps with a lot of different political movements and trends that we've been seeing lately, and does it all in a satirical way. You have to be paying attention, and I just ate it up. I loved it so much. I feel like this is going to be such a big book when it comes out, probably for its topics and also the themes, but also just how well done it is. I had such a great time reading it. I was horrified, and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Hello, new little angle unlocked. We'll see if this works, but happy Thursday. I wanted to do a quick check-in of what I read. I finished reading yesterday and what I'm reading today. So yesterday I did finish reading Soul Searching and I really enjoyed it. I feel like I would give it a 4 stars right now. I have a feeling that as more books come out in the series, I'm going to fall in love with the series more as a whole, because that's what happened to me with Rebel Blue Ranch series. Done and Dusted was not my favorite romance book ever, but I just loved the vibes of it. And then as each book came out and we met more of the characters, I became obsessed with it. And that's how I feel about this book. I really enjoyed Colin and Brady's story. I feel like they had a super cute relationship, and I loved how supportive they were to each other, especially Brady with Collins, because she was really going through a lot in her professional and personal life. And I loved the paranormal aspect added to it. And just Lila Sage writes the best small town romances. The little towns that she creates, I'm absolutely obsessed with. So I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I can't wait for it to come out and for everyone to read it. Okay, next, as for the books that I decided to start reading today, so far, I have just started reading my arc of Coldwire by Chloe Gong. This was gifted to me by Simon Teen, so thank you so much to them. I could not believe it when I found out I was getting an arc of this book. I love Chloe Gong's books so much, especially her young adult books. And this is a new genre for her. It is a dystopian book. I'm not sure if it's a dystopian romance, but I believe it's going to have romance. And so far, I've read about 35%. I'm hoping to get to 50% today. And I'm really enjoying it. So it's about a world where virtual reality is kind of the world that these people go in, and the characters are living in the midst of like a Cold War situation where basically like they grow up and they're trained in these military academies and they're trained to go to war for their side, where they enter the virtual reality like world, and basically like their version of Cold War is using like this AI system to, I guess, kill the data of like the other side. I don't know, but I'm finding the virtual reality part super fascinating, and I really, really like the characters so far. We're getting a lot of different representation in this book, which I'm really enjoying, especially queer representation, and it just feels super fun. Like, I love a dystopian book, so I'm super excited to keep reading this and see what I think. And then I decided best for last. I saved best for last my reread of Beach Read by Emily Henry. I have reread this most years at the beach, and it's just the best vibes. This is like my annotated copy, but I still kind of add in annotations every time I read it. And I know that I can definitely binge this book pretty quick. I'm probably going to start reading a little bit today and then hopefully read a lot tomorrow and then finish Saturday, even if it's after I get home from the trip. That's okay. But I am so excited to be back with January and Gus. Reading this book at the beach is just my favorite thing ever. So I'm going to start reading. Hello, happy Saturday. I just made it home and I wanted to give quickly what I read on Friday and today before I left the beach. I am currently in the middle of 2 books. Well, I'm at the end. So I'm gonna finish them tonight and I'm counting them in this vlog and like what I read on vacation, because I read the majority of it on vacation, and I also want to give my final thoughts on Coldwire. So I will update you tomorrow morning and give a review for that. But yesterday I started Beach Read by Emily Henry, my reread, which I'm absolutely loving. Every time it gets better and better. And I read 200 pages of that. I literally could have sat there and just read it all day, honestly. I just love it so much. I love January and Gus. And then I read about 30% of Coldwire, finishing at 75%. So then today, so far, I have not read any further in Beach Read. I'm planning on finishing Beach Read tonight, but I did read 10% of Coldwire this morning. So I have about 15% left in Coldwire and like 150 pages left in Beach Read. So I am excited to finish both of those and then come back and wrap up this video tomorrow. Hello and happy Sunday. I am here to wrap up this video with my final updates. So as I said, I did end up finishing the last 2 books I was reading yesterday. So I read the last 150 pages of Beach Read, and then I read the final 25% of Coldwire. And let me tell you, this book blew my mind. Like, I am still sitting here just kind of in awe of like how all these different threads wrapped up in the last 100 pages. I did not give this book a proper description or summary when I was first talking about it, and honestly, I do think the back does like a really good job, so I should have just read that. But basically, it is set in a dystopian world where, because of climate change, with rising seas and epidemics. There is the up country and the down country. Most of society, at least the people who can afford to, lives in the up country, which is a virtual reality system where they basically like plug in and go to escape. And then those who can't afford the virtual reality live in the down country, which is like a crumbling society. In the up country, there is a Cold War going on between two of the different countries or nations. Basically, the two female main characters are both part of Nile Corp, which is like this big private corporation, their military academy, but the one is in their like private forces down country, and then Leah, the other one, is in their military academy in up country. And they both throughout this book are sent on missions essentially to fight and like find out more about this AI system that is being built that Nile Corp is concerned about because they think that it would get in the hands of the wrong nation and then be used in the Cold War. I love the characters, I love the romance, and the way that the story comes together with following Leah's point of view and then Ariel and how their storylines are combined at the end was literally so insane. I desperately want the second book because this definitely ended on a cliffhanger. I just enjoyed it so much. I feel like it had many of the layers you expect in a dystopian novel and many different themes like climate change, systemic injustices, wealth differences, but it just was so fascinating, especially with the AI system, and I feel like I'm gonna give it a 5 stars. Okay, and then quickly, I did finish my reread of Beach Read and I loved it just as much. I think this is like my 4th time rereading it. I don't know why it gets me every single time. Like literally when you get to the part where Gus and January are like holding hands under their table, why does that make me cry? I don't know what's going on. I love them so much. I really wanted to reread this because I just reread Happy Place, which I loved, and I wasn't sure if Beach Read was still my favorite Emily Henry, and I can confirm from the extent and range of emotions that this book drew out of me even on my 4th reread that this is the blueprint for me, and I just am still so in awe of her writing in this book. It's just incredible. Okay, so that is it for this little vlog of what I read while on vacation. I ended up reading 5 books, so 4 physical books and then soul searching on my Kindle. I did 2 rereads and read 3 arcs, which I'm honestly really happy about. I love rereading my favorite books at the beach, especially those that remind me of being at the beach. Basically every book was 4 stars and above, which is really good, and I'm really happy with how much I read. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing what I decided to pick up while on vacation, seeing how much I read on vacation, and my reactions to 3 highly anticipated books coming out in the fall. If you enjoyed watching this video, I would love it if you subscribe and check out my channel for more bookish videos from me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!